Welcome back to Tip of the Spear, where we talk about all things Wetumpka athletics. As always, I'm your host, Chandler Ward, and with me today are my co-hosts, Deacon, Meeks, and Britt. To kick things off, I'd like to congratulate cross-country senior Walter Lynch, who recently won First Community Bank's Player of the Week for his stellar performance at the AHSAA 6A Region 2 Sectional Championships, where he placed second place overall, getting himself a 17:56:59 5K. Outstanding performance, and that also led them to get their third regional championship in the last 4 years.
Yeah. Now, not only did Lynch play a big part at this meet, but so did the Williams brothers, who finished in the top 10, with Bennett finishing third and Parker finishing 8th. These 3 top 10 finishes just show how important these runners have been throughout their season and will continue to be throughout the remainder of their season. Now, something else I would love to point out is the Wetumpka boys basketball team starts their season on November 13th on the road against Pike Road. The Indians have been a very dominant team on the court and will most definitely continue that tradition.
Absolutely, no. Not only are the boys dominant, but so are the girls. Sophomore point guard Aaliyah Humphrey, to be exact. Humphrey led the Lady Indians to a 15-12 season last season, and with the development she sure had over the summer, there's no doubt that she's going to be even more exciting. Now, with more women's sports getting into the competitive season, I'd also like to talk about cheer and dance that are prepping up for, and cheer exactly is prepping up for the AHSAA state championships, and dance is getting ready for nationals in late February or late January through early February.
Now, getting ready is not only something that dance and cheer have to do, but also Wetumpka's football team. Wetumpka's football team recently had a game against Demopolis, which they won, but they've got a game against Saraland coming up, first playoff game of their year, which if they win, they're going to some more. But also, John Hudson Wingard, he's got some preparations. He has been selected to play in an all-star game, which is absolutely outstanding and very exciting to hear from that. But more onto that topic of Saraland. That is something I'm excited to see, and I think a lot of people are excited to see. Wetumpka is going to, yet again, another playoff game. They have clinched that playoff debut, and I am sure they are excited for it. But they've got some traveling to do, so we're going to see how that goes.
No kidding. I mean, Wetumpka also gets a school day off. They have a virtual day that day, so it's a very important day for Wetumpka as a organization in general. So having their sports team, their football team, have that big spotlight on them is very cool. To play against a school like Saraland, who had Ryan Williams, the receiver for Alabama, that, you know, the freshman sensation that he was last year, and the sophomore sensation that he is this year. You know, they have to play against that very competitive school. So I can't wait to see what Wetumpka has to offer.
Yeah, Wetumpka has been waiting for this moment for the whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, every high school team's goal in football is to make it to the playoffs and win the championship. Now, Wetumpka doesn't have the best track record in the first round of the playoffs the past couple of years, but I believe they can pull something off.
Absolutely, I agree. Saraland is 9-0 currently, which they beat Theodore 38-14 in their last game. So that's going to be challenging. 9-0, you're playing a 9-0 team as a 6-4 team, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a little scary, you know. I believe Wetumpka is really going to show out at this game. I feel like maybe they've had their struggles, especially with that O-line, you know, that O-line breaking every game, just not giving Charlie enough time in that pocket. But I believe that Wetumpka is going to show that Saraland may be mighty for these past couple of years, but they're going to break them down, you know. A couple years ago, they played them in the playoffs and they lost. They want to come back different this year. They want to show something different and something better.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at an original David versus Goliath story right here. I mean, when you look at Saraland's defense, they are elite. And we need Wetumpka to match that. Our back line surely has it. You know, our secondary with Emerson Polk and Bobo Browning, they are surely going to try their best and definitely lock up these Saraland receivers. And I just can't wait to see, just how our running defense is also going to do, because they have a lot to work on as well. We didn't see that much going for the legs and wrapping up, and I just want to see that in general, for Wetumpka.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that Wetumpka has an advantage on this game. I've noticed that Saraland's running offense, from what I've seen, they're not as dominant as most of the teams they've been playing. So that may just be an advantage they have in this game. Wetumpka's been struggling on the run game. Every single team they play, whether it's a blowout game for Wetumpka, they're just dogging the other team, or it's a close game. Wetumpka has been kind of struggling with that running game. And so with this upper hand of that might just be that spark of light, like, hey, here we go. They don't have that running back. As long as you're locking down in the backfield, like you said, Wetumpka's got it.
I agree, dude.
Now, something else, I'd like to add on to what you said earlier, Deacon, about Wetumpka's defense. You talked a little bit about Bobo Browning.
Yes.
He had an amazing game last game. He had 2 interceptions, and also Emerson Polk, you said.
Yep.
Him and Latravion Davis, I believe, had both interceptions. I think we've looked at previous Wetumpka games. We've all covered it. And we have talked about how defense have played really well the past couple of games, but I believe that the last one was the most best played for this Wetumpka defense, and they will continue that into the Saraland game.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I agree. Our Wetumpka defense versus Demopolis was amazing, and I just have to say that Bobo Browning was my key impact player. Like you were saying, 2 interceptions, and one being a pick 6. I mean, you rarely see defense putting points up on the board, so that's just so cool to see him. He's a senior as well, so that spotlight on him. And in the playoffs, it has to be a big impact on that kid, and I just can't wait to see him play.
Possibly. I mean, Wetumpka, they're coming into this yet, like we've been saying, yet again, their first game of the playoffs. Last year they lost to McAdory, so a little bit of an upset there, and Wetumpka's going to upset Saraland this year. I fully believe in them. Now, Saraland, apart from that running, their QB is dominant.
Yeah.
He went 12-19 in their last game with 308 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just some crazy numbers. Now, I've got to tell you, Charlie Skipper has put up some numbers like that, but a QB that can match that, that's a little scary looking, you know?
Yeah.
Something you got to look out for. You're going to need your linebackers and that defensive line pushing on them, you know? Walt Myrick, for example, he's going to have to get in there. If he's not going to get in there and get their QB down, there could be some problems in this game. But I believe that Wetumpka's defensive line, I think Coach Bear has been working them because O-line and D-line have been their main issues and like what's kind of been dragging them down a little bit in these games. I think Coach Bear has been just pushing it on that D-line and O-line like, hey, let's go, let's get it together.
Yeah.
And I think they're really going to step up in this game and be a key factor just overall.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now, Chandler, you talked just a little bit now about how Saraland's offense is pretty good. Their quarterback, just all their players on offense. But I would like to talk about Wetumpka's offense. Like you said, John Hudson Wingard is now an all-star, I believe, what you said. He's my key player of the game from last week. He had 3 receptions for 50 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. I think it was the best performance out of all the wide receivers statistically, and he will be a key threat or a key target for Charlie Skipper in the Saraland game.
Yeah, and just building off of that, we've seen multiple dominant games out of John Hudson Wingard, and that's to credit Charlie Skipper as well. He's thrown him great balls down the field, and he's thrown those one-on-one balls with Caleb Ballard as well, and we're probably going to need that height against Saraland. So that's just one thing you need to look out for if you're with Wetumpka, just throwing the deep ball to Caleb Ballard.
Absolutely. And back to John Hudson Wingard, we've been saying he's a great player. He had a great game last game. I saw one of the greatest catches I think I've ever seen in a high school game last game. Just 3 defenders on him, one-handed catch. That's just crazy.
I
mean,
That was elite, bro.
yeah, it's something you don't see normally, and that is why Wingard is going to be a key factor. Ballard is going to be a key factor. Both have the height, both have the skill. You get the ball to them. Skipper, as long as he's looking for him, I think Wetumpka's got it easy. Honestly, I think Wetumpka has this so well. I think they've got a win here, 28-27 against Saraland. Now, like I said, Saraland is an elite team, so I've got it a close game. I've got it with possibly Wetumpka blocking an extra point here.
Wow.
That would be like a fairy tale story right there, just to end that first game of the playoffs and to knock out the number 1 seed.
Yeah, for sure. And building off of the Charlie Skipper, like just the whole entire making the reads downfield, this all goes back to the O-line. If he doesn't have the time there in the pocket, he's not going to be able to make those reads. But if he does and he has full confidence, he steps up, he uses those legs, he's going to be so dominant out there. And I think Wetumpka will win. I don't know by how much. I don't know if we're going to blow them out the water. I don't know what's going to happen, but I got full confidence that Wetumpka will win.
Absolutely.
This is Wetumpka's hardest game of the year. in my
Oh,
opinion.
definitely.
Number one, Saraland. Like 9-0 or 8-0?
9-0.
9-0. And they're just a really good team. But when you look at Wetumpka, the one thing, I believe Wetumpka's going to win this, but the one thing that will make Wetumpka win this is Wetumpka's defense. Especially Saraland's quarterback who threw for over 300 yards last week against Theodore. I mean, our backfield last week, especially they have key threats on the wide receivers for Saraland. And the deep ball threats for Saraland. But our Wetumpka's backfield is just really good this past few weeks. So I got Wetumpka winning this 24-21.
So me and you've got some close games here. I like that. And Deacon's confident in us too, and that's exactly what we want to hear. Now, I know we've been all over the place about this defense, but I just can't get over it. You were talking how their defense is going to be a key factor, and Noah, yes, they are. Not only has Wetumpka just held teams like Pike Road. Pike Road has been their hardest game of the season. Saraland, I am in full belief they will be the hardest game, but they only held Pike Road to 28 points. Now, sure, that's 4 touchdowns right there, but 28? If you go back and look, Pike Road beat Rehoboth 63-0. Wetumpka beat Rehoboth. I don't see what this issue is here, you know. Pike Road is a dominant team. They're number one in the 6A region currently. So if Wetumpka can hold them to 28, I think Wetumpka can beat the Saraland team.
Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, just the thing with Pike Road was that they had a dominant running back. And, like, I think with the Saraland game, it'll be a different story because they will be having to rely on the deep ball, and it'll just be completely different.
Absolutely. So, very excited for the Saraland game. You know, I might even travel to go watch it. I just want to see this game.
That's
now.
a distance, man.
Yeah, 3 hours is a lot, but I have belief in this Wetumpka team, and I feel like they're going to pull this off. But I thank you all for watching this episode of Tip of the Spear. If you're wanting to go the difference, go to Saraland, watch the game. If not, I think they're going to be doing an audio call on Wetumpka Sports Network if you want to tune in for that. But thank you all for watching, and as always, win the moment, Wetumpka.